Amy. Ready? The public hearing on the proposed improvements for the Onondaga County Sanitary District is now called to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Legislators May.
Here.
Meeker.
Here.
Gunnip.
Here.
Cody. Here. Abbott. Here. Romeo.
Here.
Fiato.
Here.
Harvey.
Here.
Olson. McCarron.
Here.
Knapp.
Here.
Bush.
Here.
Kelly.
Here.
Brown.
Here.
Garland.
Here.
Hernandez.
Here.
Mr. Chairman.
Here.
17 present, none absent.
Thank you. The resolution of the legislature authorizing the public hearing has been entered into the record. Was the notice of the hearing duly published?
It was,
Are there any speakers?
as signed in.
So I have a list here. It is long. As is the tradition here, we have 5 minutes for each and a maximum of 30 minutes, which we'll see. I'm sorry? Well, thank you. That is for public comment. For public hearing, we have time. So we have, the first is Sonia Cray, and then on deck is John, John from Syracuse. Please? Thank you. Sonia, you're up first.
Good morning. My name is Sonia Craw. I'm a doctor, and I reside in the town of DeWitt in Onondaga County. The request for the proposed increase and improvement of the Oak Orchard Municipal Expansion Project is problematic on multiple levels. Neither the county legislators nor the public have received detailed presentations about the upgrade plans, cost breakdown, potential outside funding sources, and sustainability measures to fuel the upgrade. Confidence in the county water management are at an all-time low following failure of the launch of the biosolids drying facility and a main water break affecting water delivery to Onondaga County households and businesses. DEC permit open comments of the facility related to Micron concluded on December 23rd and indicate that permitting was last done in 2019. The public has no idea what is working and not working in the current facility. Assuming upgrades do need to be done, this is a municipal facility upgrade and should address current wastewater needs, future residential and commercial growth, but should not include needs that Micron's factory may have. The engineering plans and permitting information, as well as Micron's timeline, would suggest that Micron and Onondaga County are upgrading the Oak Orchard wastewater treatment plant to bridge Micron needs during demolition, construction, and operations of fabrication plants 1 and possibly 2. Industrial needs are different than municipal needs. Certainly, Onondaga County can agree to upgrade the municipal plant to manage Micron municipal wastewater at a build cost to Micron. However, the technology needed to recycle water to pure state for chip production and then treat it to safe standards to release into the Oneida and Oswego rivers and Lake Ontario should be done in a separate industrial wastewater treatment plant built and paid for by Micron. Upgrades, both municipal and industrial, should include plans for renewable energy with heat pumps, rooftop and ground solar, and battery storage to locally provide the massive energy needed for these operations. Onondaga County has existing solar panels at Oak Orchard, which may be part of the solution, although Micron plans indicate the solar array will be removed or moved. Finally, I ask that you postpone the current measure for the municipal upgrade funded by $549.5 million bonds until these concerns can be addressed with further public and legislator input. Thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you, John, and then Shannon Pagano.
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is John Prospiora. I'm a retired professional engineer and a resident of the city of Syracuse. I question the timing of this special meeting and the lack of substantial citizen resident engagement relating to this resolution, and of the entire Micron development in general. A special meeting in the middle of the holiday season is not a great way to get residents to participate in this important matter. I am concerned that the growth induced by Micron and the county's economic development plans will require a significant rate increase for wastewater. Though this is not the only rising costs county residents will experience in the name of economic development. Electricity, housing, and other municipal service costs will surely increase. The pilot has already given away tax revenue that could have offset rising costs for those on fixed incomes. More engagement with the public and a healthy dose of transparency are sorely needed. When people experience futility, a lack of understanding and control over what their government is doing, skepticism grows. WEP held a public meeting in November. However, I didn't know anyone outside of county government who knew of it or attended the hearing, except for Glenn Coyne of the Post-Standard. The effort to include members of the public deserves a grade of F. A significant source of skepticism is over the adequacy or perhaps inadequacy of environmental protection. Micron will bring a massive chemical plant. Yes, a chemical plant, for that is what a chip fab is. And it is unclear how Micron and WEP intend to ensure that highly hazardous PFAS, known as forever chemicals, will be kept from the environment. Until there is complete transparency and understanding about this issue, this bond resolution must not be approved. A program of environmental oversight and monitoring needs to be created to ensure public health and safety and protect the natural environment from pollutant discharges to waterways and from the biosolid management and disposal. A county and Micron-funded Environmental Review and Oversight Council, including robust environmental monitoring, must be included in the Oak Orchard project approval. We know that a substantial part of this sewage treatment upgrade is being specifically built for Micron. How much of the proposed expenditure is planned for processes specifically designed for Micron's construction and startup industrial wastewater, so-called bridge projects, and the water reuse facility, for example? Why isn't Micron paying for these? Relatedly, what risk is Onondaga County shouldering for potential damage to the environment? Until there is more effective public engagement, a monitoring program to ensure public safety, and clarity about these issues, the proposed bond resolution must not be approved. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shannon, and then Sue Hammond.
Good morning, Chairman and members of the Legislature. My name is Shannon Pagano, and I am speaking today on behalf of myself and my husband. We're Onondaga County residents, and we are sewer ratepayers. We support the Oak Orchard wastewater treatment plant municipal expansion. Our comments today center on financial transparency and whether the information available supports approving the project and a bond of this size. This $550 million roughly project is the largest in county history, and it is going to affect ratepayers for decades. This legislature is being asked to approve this project and its bonding, yet the public record leaves major questions unanswered. First, the roughly $550 million capital cost is not fully documented. There's no breakdown in any reports of what's included. Things such as the construction scope, engineering administrative fees, or contingencies, and whether such items like buying land for a new power line right away or water reuse or recycled water pump stations are included in that $550 million. Without any of these details, the $550 million looks more like an assertion than a verified estimate. Additionally, the project is providing expanded sewer capacity for community development. There's no explanation of what the incremental cost is, or how it's going to be allocated to how or if it's going to be charged to new users. Second, the future operating costs due to this project are unclear. The map plan report lists $9.16 million per year, but provides no details on labor, equipment, chemicals, short-lived assets, or anything that might need to be replaced over the duration of the borrowing. There's also no projections for how these costs will change over time, with phases of construction, community growth, or inflation. Again, this is a figure that is not substantiated. Third, there's no financial analysis showing debt service under various financing terms and how that, along with the increased O&M, will impact the department's annual budget, or what sewer rates might need to look like to ensure there's revenue to pay for it. It's stated that there will be community growth to offset the impact, but there are no documents showing how much growth or when. Without a financial analysis, it is impossible to know how this project will affect sewer rates or household affordability. Fourth, committing approximately $550 million to this one project could limit the county's ability to fund other critical sewer repairs. The county is under multiple consent orders currently for Clean Water Act violations, which will require major capital investments, and then there are still all the other sewer system assets that need to be replaced. EPA guidance calls for a financial capacity assessment to ensure communities can afford all required improvements without making sewer bills unaffordable. There's no indication this comprehensive assessment has been done. Finally, the county is also building an industrial wastewater facility on the Oak Orchard campus, but the record doesn't explain how shared costs like new utility service, site work, shared buildings, or treatment systems are going to be handled. For example, the public record does indicate that the OO facility will require a new 115 kV electrical service and new substation to meet the combined new electric load of the municipal and industrial treatment equipment. There's no documentation of what this will cost or how it'll be allocated between those two projects. And ratepayers need assurances they won't subsidize industrial expenses that are supposed to be paid by the industrial system user. Our request is simple. Before approving this project and the bond, the legislature should require, 1, a detailed cost breakdown for the entire capital project, 2, verified operating cost projections, 3, debt service and rate impact analysis, 4, community growth assumptions and an affordability analysis, 5, a financial capability assessment inclusive of the entire department's capital improvement plan. And finally, a full list with estimated costs of shared investments and the rules for the cost sharing between the municipal and the industrial facilities. We support investment in wastewater infrastructure, but approving $550 million without these details risks affordability, limits oversight, and could compromise our future infrastructure needs. Thank you for your time.
Sue Hammond, and then next up, Don Hughes.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Sue Hammond. I live in North Syracuse. I lived in this county, in this town, basically all my life with my family, and I've seen a lot of changes, all in the name of progress. And frankly, I would question what we call progress, including this project. The article in the newspaper about this $549 million sewage project, the last count is that Mr. McMahon said, without that project, there is no Micron. Made it very clear, this project is about Micron, okay? It is not about Onondaga County. It is not about the people who live here. It's about Micron. And Mr. McMahon also said that when the committee, any committee votes against the against the project were reckless. Well, I would suggest to you today that any committee or any legislative votes for the project are the ones that are reckless. Apparently, the current plan is capacity has process up to 10 million gallons of sewage per day. but it averages about half of that. And then we find that the Micron sanitary sewage, which is supposedly what this is supposed to help, is expected to account for 2.6 million gallons. So let me see if I'm not great on math, but basically that is about half the additional capacity. In other words, the current plant could take care of projected Micron sewage. We don't need any increase in the Oak Orchard plant to take care of Micron sewage. The other thing that's supposed to be built is a second facility solely dedicated to treating Micron's industrial process waste will be built, and that supposedly is going to be paid for by Micron. The other, let's see, getting back to Micron, can we ever get away from it? You have to remember, Micron is a multi-billion-dollar company. A multi-billion-dollar company. And in upstate New York alone, according to another article, Micron has amassed more than $22.6 billion in, come on here. 22.6 billion in planned tax breaks from federal, state, and local governments to build the chip-making complex. Now, and this amount increased, okay, tax breaks increased after the One Big Beautiful Bill Act boosted subsidies for U.S. semiconductor plant developers from 25 to 35%. Okay, so in other words, we have a multi-billion-dollar company who's being given multi-billion-dollar tax breaks and claims that it can't afford to pay $500,000 for a sewage treatment plant. I mean, there is something wrong with this picture, and I think a lot of you here know this. So and then, okay, Micron, okay, so Micron is just going to be so wonderful because we're going to have a whole lot of other companies that are going to come along to support it, quote unquote. I would really like to know exactly what those companies are. You know, we haven't had any idea what they are. And Micron seems to be wanting to do a bait and switch here, because we were told that Micron is going to be building all these wonderful computer-facing chip products. Well, apparently, Micron has changed its mind, okay? Micron announced it would end production of its crucial product line, which includes memory storage units, et cetera. The exit reduces competition for these chips and gives the remaining firms more market power, potentially allowing them to jack up prices on consumers. So, as a result of Micron doing what they're doing, our prices are actually going to go up. And the chips, Micron says it's exiting the consumer market to put its resources toward the booming data center and artificial intelligence build-out. So we're not even going to get those wonderful chips for our iPhones and our computers we were promised. It's all going to go to data centers. Okay, and we know about data centers, and I'm wondering, is that really the next thing that's on our plate here in upstate New York? Is that another thing that was cited as on its back burner? Are we looking forward to a data center? Then, of course, then we go back. So in other words, Micron can certainly afford to pay the complete cost for this sewage treatment plant, which is supposed to be being done for its benefit, okay? But it really doesn't need it for its benefit. Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought here. But we haven't been told at all about the other things that Micron is going to require. What about that 54-inch diameter water pipeline from Lake Ontario? Whoa, because Micron is going to need as much water as the city of Syracuse for its plant. So when are we going to hear about that? Oh, after we do this, then we'll sneak that in, and we'll keep sneaking more and more and more and more things in. And who benefits? We do not benefit. The jobs that are going to be produced are not in Micron. They're all going to be robots, for Pete's sake. And the construction jobs, the initial construction, as I've said before in another hearing, they're destruction jobs. They're going to destroy a whole lot of property up there. We've already kicking people out of their homes, knocking houses down, and we're going to be digging up a whole lot of property to put a big concrete fiasco up there. And the other thing is energy. Okay, if we want to build industry in this county, well, wait a minute. How about photo, I'm tired. I'm sorry, I'm getting old here. How about, oh God, isn't that awful? Why didn't I write it down? Putting photo on top of that incredible flat space, on top of all those roofs. Wouldn't that be a great, to make, give me a hand here, folks. Solar, thank you. Wouldn't that be a great industry for Onondaga County? Okay, building solar panels, installing solar panels, maintaining solar panels. That'd be great. That'd be a constructive process. But have you noticed, neither with Amazon nor with this was there any requirement for putting solar panels on that incredible space of flat roofs. Would have been a great place for them. Would have been a great place for them. So, there's all sorts of reasons that this is about Micron, and it is not about Onondaga County, and it's certainly not about the people who live in Onondaga County. So I would really, frankly, it's amazing that it's gotten this far, but to tell you the truth, I'm not terribly surprised. And I think doing this 3 days before there's going to be a change in the county legislative makeup is rather interesting. And the last thing I'd like to put out there, and I'm sure this will be resented enormously, to the extent I haven't already been resented, is that Micron stock is going up. And I guess I'm just wondering, in the name of transparency, wouldn't it be nice to just, for all of anybody who's had anything to do with approving this project, from, county executive to OSIDA members who were unappointed, unelected, to legislative members, to anybody who's giving them any kind of variances, et cetera, et cetera. I think it would be useful for there be a declaration as to whether any of them had or intend to buy stock in Micron. I think that's important. If we think that's important at our federal level, it should be important at every single level. So maybe nobody has, that's great. But I think that's another thing in transparency that we really should know. Thanks. Oops.
Thank you. Next up, Don Hughes.
Almost took you.
After Don, Greg Erickson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, everyone, for coming on out. This is a very important issue, and that's why we have so many speakers, despite the fact that this is falling between Christmas and New Year's, with little public notice. So Jamie would have distributed to you my comments, and I'm not going to read all that stuff, but the thing I would love you to be able to look at is a PowerPoint. It's a PDF that goes through some of the major topics. So if you can pull that up out of your the laptops, that would be awesome, because I'm going to speak to some of those points. So my name is Don Hughes. I've lived in Onondaga County since the fall of 1985. I've training in wastewater engineering and environmental chemistry, and I'm offering these comments as a private citizen who is concerned about both the environmental and the economic consequences of issuing these bonds. These bonds that you're being asked to pass would be the most expensive bonds ever issued in the 200-year history of this county, $515 million, far surpassing what we did with for the trash incinerator on Rock Cut Road, or all the improvements that were made to the Metropolitan Sewage Treatment Plant to help clean up Onondaga Lake. This is a big whale that you're being asked to swallow. The third speaker made some very important points about the lack of transparency and the need to figure out what all this money is paying for. I fully support her comments. So yes, Oak Orchard needs to be expanded, it needs to be improved, but we need to look under the hood. If we don't do that, it's reckless. There's complete dearth of information, supporting information that's being given about what you are getting, what we are getting. This cost is being pushed onto county ratepayers. So back in November 5th, you were provided with an information packet which has minimal detail about the scope of the project. There are 3 components listed. One was the upgrade to the sewage treatment plant to improve the ability to treat higher flows of sanitary wastewater, not industrial wastewater, sanitary. Second, you're going to get biosolids. You're going to get the capacity to treat sewage sludge, which they like to call biosolids. And then the third thing is the bridging project, which enables us to get from here to there, okay, to keep treatment going while they make construction. Now, if you can look at the PowerPoint, there's good reasons to overhaul the oak orchard plant. Equipment's 40 years old. We're expecting there's going to be population growth up in Clay. Expecting that if Micron spawns other industries, other businesses, there'll be some growth of that. We need to have additional sewage sludge. But a very important point here, this is probably the most important thing, is that there's a reuse facility that's incorporated into this, and that is solely for Micron's benefit. This has nothing to do with conventional sewage treatment. It is a reuse facility. And it's described. If you look at, move to the 4th slide, it talks about the maintenance of project operations. That's the bridging component. The first item there is to treat increased flow from Micron construction and startup flows. Okay, so there's a thing that's built into this that's purely for Micron's benefit. Are they going to get billed for this? I don't know. There's no documentation. It doesn't seem like it. We go to the next slide, which is the liquid train, and I apologize, there's all these different terminologies that are used. The liquid train is the improvements to the wastewater treatment technology. And they've got 8 items listed here. So the headworks, primary clarifiers, they're going to replace the high purity oxygen with a different process, and they're going to change the disinfection process to UV. Odor control. Item number 8 says new water reuse facility with ultrafiltration and reverse osmosis. This comes right out of the Brown and Caldwell report. Well, that's for Micron. And we'll hear from a wastewater engineer who specializes in this stuff. This is very expensive. 3 stages. There's a little flow diagram that I threw in here, but it involves 35 high-pressure units. You're pushing the water through membranes. There's pumps. There's filters. There's these RO facilities. These things are producing what's essentially distilled water. Where's that going? Back to Micron. Okay. So, proposed budget, $549.5 million for this whole thing. There's no breakdown. What are we getting? There's this big box we're purchasing. What's in it? I did find, courtesy of, with some help, buried at the end of the November 2025 Carollo Engineering Report, Table 1, there's a rough cost estimate for expanding the Oak Orchard Municipal Treatment System. How much is that? $145 million. That's a long ways from 550. There's a $400 million gap here. What's the $400 million for? I can't tell you, but I suspect a big chunk of that is for this reuse facility, which is solely for the benefit of Micron, a company which in the last quarter made $13 billion in profits, and as previously mentioned, is receiving something like $22 billion in federal tax credits and state tax credits and outright grants. They can afford to pay for the facilities that are benefiting them. How much is this going to hurt the county taxpayers? Well, right now, I should have brought my reading glasses, but right now we're paying something like $400 and something dollars as a sewer use charge. This project, if it's passed, will add $240 per unit. It's going to bring the total sewer use rate per household up to $700. That's expensive. And I don't see why the taxpayers of Onondaga County should be paying a significant piece of this when it's completely for the benefit of the Micron Technologies multi-billion-dollar corporation. So to summarize, this is the biggest bond ever conceived of for Onondaga County. Information about it is hidden, not available to the public. It's not available to the legislature. There's no breakdown of costs. There's major components which are solely for the benefit of Micron. And there's a lack of accounting for the fact that the schedule has changed. Micron has delayed the opening of its fabs by 2 years. So what's the rush? What is the rush? It seems to be completely motivated by politics and just trying to sneak this through. And I take issue with Ryan McMahon's statement that without this project, there is no Micron. Of course there's a Micron. Of course there is. They've invested millions. And going through the environmental analysis and the reports and investment in the community investment fund and engagement with multiple entities to their credit. They're coming here, folks. But let's not give away the store. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Greg is next with Peter King to follow.
Good morning. I'm Greg Erickson, incoming legislator for the 6th District. I'm here to reiterate a lot of the concerns that have already been expressed, and in particular, a lot of the concerns regarding the financing of this bond and of this project. And I believe it was the last meeting of the Environmental Protection Committee, the meeting that sent this bond resolution to the Greater Chamber. The following information was requested but not readily provided. It was unclear who's going to be paying the interest on the bond while we wait for Micron to come online. With that time period has now been extended an additional 2 years. It is unclear what the final cost numbers for this project are, what the actual impact to a taxpayer will be over time, what the impact to ratepayers will be over time. It wasn't even clear if this will be a 30 or a 40-year bond from that meeting. And my bottom line is that, as far as I can tell at this point, the county is unable to articulate what the impact of this bond is going to be on taxpayers, regular folks, small businesses in this county, ratepayers in this county, and until that can be articulated, we should not be moving forward with the largest bond in the county's history. When this resolution was discussed last time in open session, I believe that the word trust got bandied about a lot. Well, guess what? Ramming through the biggest bond increase before the buzzer sounds on this majority in the middle of the holidays does not exactly scream trust. The voters had an opportunity to weigh in on their level of trust in this legislature's ability to maintain county finances. They did so. That level of trust is not there. They saw what happened with the aquarium, where an $85 million project turned into a $100 million project, turned into it's going to be more than $100 million, but don't worry, we'll raise the money privately, but don't worry about who's writing those checks. Those are going to be anonymous. Where would the trust be? Come on. People aren't going to, there's no transparency there. And this is 5 times bigger than that aquarium project. And let's keep on about trust. Expanding wastewater treatment is a no-brainer. This is critical, it's necessary. Wastewater treatment plants are critical infrastructure. The incoming majority can be trusted with this. I don't want dysentery for anyone. I'm a child of the 80s and 90s. I died of dysentery on the Oregon Trail more times than I can count. People don't need that in real life. We don't want to create those problems. This is no-brainer work to upgrade our wastewater treatment plants. So I am concerned that the reason that there appears to not be a level of trust in the incoming majority is that the impact to regular taxpayers, to homeowners, to small businesses is going to be worse than we think. We have already seen, and I am further concerned that the reason why there is this apparent lack of trust in the incoming majority is because we are asking these questions and because the public may not like the answers to them. This is happening at the same time as a pretty substantial sewer rate increase in this year's budget. My guess is it's around a 20% increase to commercial users. We don't know. Is that the beginning of additional rate increases? This only adds to our concerns about where the money for this is going to come from. So again, the bottom line is that until we can articulate how this is going to affect small businesses, ratepayers, regular folks in this county, we shouldn't move forward with it yet. It's not responsible. By all means, we need wastewater treatment. We need the best wastewater treatment we can afford. We just need to make sure that it's not being done on the backs of regular folks. Thank you.
Thank you. Peter King and then Lawrence Pedersen.
Good morning, everyone, legislature, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Peter King. I've resided in Onondaga County since 2001. And basically, I'm fairly much in agreement with the speakers so far. I believe the Onondaga County Legislature is being asked to approve a large infrastructure project, possibly arguably the most expensive the county has ever undertaken as a bond. However, we, the public, have not been duly invited to comment or even given adequate information about this question at a time either convenient or practical for most to attend. The overall comment period on the Micron question has been incredibly short, and also at key points missing some pivotal information. And this is very evident in this case that the information we need to make a good decision is lacking here. So I'm basically calling on your sense of reason to think about the ability to separate and unite. We know some substantial part of this sewage treatment upgrade, which I'm 100% in favor of having adequate infrastructure, by the way. We know some substantial portion of that, the reuse portion, is specifically being built for Micron. How much of that project Micron will directly benefit from, even as a bridge concept, a temporary bridge while they build their own wastewater treatment plant, is unclear as an immediate cost or over time. What assurances exist that this particular reverse osmosis treatment will truly handle the potentially highly toxic persistent compounds such as fluorines and PFAS and the many undocumented compounds as produced by Micron? Currently, there are bills pending in the state legislature to more fully and comprehensively treat PFAS because the national legislature has not truly been drafted. The EPA does not truly regulate PFAS. And so also what assurances exist that this wastewater treatment plant will be immune from the flooding and soil movements, as we can see happening more frequently from climate change, possibly from climate change extremes. But obviously you may be reading the news recently about the Onondaga County Water Authority problems, the county's own difficulties with combined sewer overflows on the west side of the lake, and numerous fines being racked up with regulations. A lot of these are due to moving soils. We have the kind of soils that move more easily with extremes of wet and dry, and we have also extremes of freeze-thaw. And do we know that this particular design is going to be adequate for really there should be more, there should be some kind of discussion about things like infiltration and inflow and combined, well, we don't have combined sewer overflow and clay, but we do have problems with I&I, infiltration and inflow, or basically street water making its way into the pipes. And so that could result in, we build a huge expensive plant, but then we have more water to treat over time as our aging pipes break down. So we need to save some money to fix the pipes. We need to not burden the taxpayer. As a taxpayer, I insist on the following. The county and Water Environmental Protection first need to get their house in order regarding serving the current Onondaga community in terms of reducing infiltration and inflow, in terms of the current challenges. We have a region that's prone to flooding, that's prone to storms. The details of this particular plant upgrade, possibly it needs an urgent upgrade or somewhat urgent upgrade on the scale of months. By all means, let's let the legislature review those plans and costs and in a detailed way, in a transparent way where everyone can see what we're paying for. And then the third part of that is Micron. Well, I mean, they are a multi-billion-dollar corporation. They have received, 25 billion in federal and state tax grants and breaks. Micron can and should be paying for 100% of their hazardous treatment and for the water that they are going to reuse. And in all cases, including any bridges. Micron has delayed their own implementation by 2 years. There's no current pressing need for approving this large upgrade today. This matter needs more careful, transparent attention than we have given it so far. We, the public, need to know the detailed rationales for this expenditure. Thank you.
Thank you. Lawrence, and then followed by Karen Haas.
My name is Lawrence Pedersen, and I reside in Cicero, and I am a subscriber to the Onondaga County Sewer Service. I'm here to speak about the plan to spend $549 million on the waste treatment plant. I also was a skeptic about Micron's plan to expand here, but two recent articles in the newspaper got my attention. One was that Micron's profit for the quarter was $5.3 billion, sales of $13.6 billion. Amazing. The other was what they need from the treatment plant. What they need from the treatment plant. The treatment plant was built to process 10 million gallons a day. It currently is doing 5 million gallons a day. Micron needs 2.6 million gallons a day. Micron needs 2.6 million gallons a day. That totals 7.6 million gallons a day, still 24% under capacity. 24% which can be set aside for additional residential expansion which may occur in the area. Also, there were about 1,600 homes for sale in Onondaga County in December. On apartments.com, there were 1,730 listed for rent in Syracuse. Micron doesn't need or want this $549 million project. Please vote no.
Thank you. Next up is Karen, followed by Elaine Denton.
Good morning. My name is Karen Hawes. I'm speaking on behalf of Sterling Water Stewards, which is a grassroots nonprofit organization that works to protect our drinking water. This morning, the county legislature plans to vote to approve a massive $500 million bond measure to improve the Oak Orchard treatment plant, including production of ultra-pure recycled water for Micron's use. Why is the public paying for that? The bond project also will enable the county to produce industrial sludge from Micron. Again, why is the public paying for that? We have no information about how the PFAS and other chemicals will be sufficiently removed from this waste sludge. The contaminants will end up in the ground and the groundwater somewhere. Onondaga County residents will pay for this bond with higher sewer rates, but have had virtually no opportunity for input, and it is clear that the legislators plan to vote this through 3 days before New Year's and a new legislative session. The town of Sterling, where I live, we share the Lake Ontario watershed with Onondaga County. Our shared watershed is already polluted with legacy industrial contamination from Onondaga County factories. The proposed Micron facility will use large quantities of extremely toxic chemicals that could kill or sicken people, animals, and crops. PFAS-type chemicals, the so-called forever chemicals, are among the many dangerous chemicals used for microchip manufacture. Micron asserts that its wastewater discharges will have no significant environmental impact. But the technology that will be used to purify the wastewater discharge has not been disclosed. It's proprietary, they tell us. All we get is a black box, and trust us. New York State currently does not have regulatory limits on the amount of PFAS in wastewater, so Micron's assurances that they will comply with regulations are meaningless. The public is expected to trust that the Onondaga County
Water Authority will make sure that Micron's wastewater removes all the chemicals. That would be the same Aqua that just built a non-functional vacant sludge facility and that had customers in 6 townships rationing water over Christmas because of pipes that broke due to soil subsidence. Please note that the proposed Micron campus site has major potential subsidence issues due to karstic geography. My organization submitted a complete scientific study of the site and its geology. It sits over a major karstic aquifer, and anything that spills there could travel far and wide throughout the region. It seems clear that this legislature prioritizes jobs and economic development over protecting the health and safety of residents. If our water resources are contaminated and our people, animals, and crops are sickened, Syracuse will pay too much for these jobs.
Thank you. Elaine is next with Gail Rinna on deck.
Good morning. I'm Elaine Denton, an incoming legislator for District 10. The fact that this public hearing and special session at that during the holiday break at 10:30 in the morning is once again highlighting this legislature's lack of desire to hear from the public or to listen to the voters. Why is the outgoing county legislature rushing forward on bonding for over $500 million? The largest bond Onondaga County has ever issued was $128 million to keep wastewater out of Onondaga Lake, an issue that still continues today, as Onondaga County was fined this past June for letting sewage spill in Onondaga Lake. The full $549 million requested is over 4 times that amount, with minimum details on where the money will be spent, the benefits to the existing residential and commercial users, or the impact to sewer rates. In the town of Manlius, we are just hoping to continue to have water heading in 2026. We know that there are critical investments in infrastructure that need to be addressed. How does taking out a $500 million bond impact our capacity to take on other needed projects? In the 2026 to 2031 Capital Improvement Plan, it lists the Phase 1, engineering and design, which would cost this project a total of $147 million. $30 million was previously approved by this legislature. WEP needs $117 million to move forward in the summer or fall of 2026. We have time to review this in full and take the necessary steps to consider all the impacts taking on this amount of debt and the full scope of this project. This rushed request to approve bonding of over $500 million is an attempt to bypass the incoming legislature and remove our checks and balances. This bonding should be tied to project phases, state explicit goals with timelines the legislature and residents can follow on progress, and changes to cost and scope. This resolution should be rejected with a clear message that the county legislature does not pass $500 million in bonding without due diligence. Detailed information on benefits and impacts to residents and businesses should be a requirement. Table this resolution or vote no until we have this critical information. Thank you.
Gail, and then followed by Nancy Smith.
Good morning. My name is Gail Rinna. I am a resident of Syracuse, and I'm chair of Consultancies for Faith Impact Team FIT, a working group of the Central Crossroads Conference of the Upstate New York Synod of the Evangelical Lutheran Church of America. FIT engages citizens who are members of faith communities, nonprofits, and businesses in efforts to enhance and safeguard the quality of life impacting Central New York through the expansion of advanced manufacturing. I am here to express my concern that the proposed bond to expand and improve the Oak Orchard Municipal Wastewater Plant is premature. I am concerned that the proposed expansion will not be adequate to protect our drinking water. Will the proposed budget for improvements be the last money that will be invested to scrub the PFAS and other contaminants from the water flowing into the Oneida River and ultimately into our household faucets? Will the public be asked to fund another bond next year to strengthen the treatment process? My greatest fear is that improvements funded now will preclude the creation of a more robust system to avoid contaminating our water. We do not want the minimum the law requires, which, as we've heard, is basically zero, but the county's best efforts to use the latest research to keep our precious commodity of abundant water safe for all who live and work here. What is the rush? Now that Micron development is delayed, I will conclude my comments with a quote found on page 2 of the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation Report, A Decade of Progress on PFAS, summarizing DEC's continued response, published December 2025. The toxicity and persistence of these compounds in the environment is an evolving challenge. And aside, there is new research that helps ongoing work to change the detriments. Once released to the environment, PFAS are extremely costly to clean up and remove from drinking water supplies. The infrastructure for treatment and disposal is still evolving. Investigating and cleaning up known PFAS sites that exceed the state's recommended exposure threshold will cost billions of dollars and take decades to complete. Please table or reject the bond. Thank you.
Next up is Nancy, followed by Robert Haley. Nancy Smith, are you here? All right, very well. Then let's move on to Robert Haley.
Excuse me. Thank you. Thank you to all here today, and thank you for this public hearing. Public hearing is opening up a lot of information. My name is Robert Haley. I'm an architect, a planner, and an educator, and I've been living in this community all of my life, which, in celebrating Bill Sanford's birthday today, I am very close to his longevity here. Simply, I wanted to speak to my experience working with the county as an independent planner and architect. What we're hearing today is an issue of transparency. I was here 10 years ago, or thereabouts, over the long-term study of the I-81 project and saw a very similar process by the county. And I'll be very frank, the county does not have a good reputation in terms of working with private development or in getting maybe projects that are favorable to be advanced quickly. To all the legislators here, the time was very similar. Half of the legislators hadn't seen the proposal on a Friday. The other half was not asked to read it in detail. It was a statement by the county on their position on the I-81 project. I came here and asked them to delay the vote until they had full transparency of the transportation numbers, which none of the legislatures had at that time. Now, that's 10 to 12 years ago. That having been said, it was a deliberate move to push something through without public awareness. So in this case, what we're hearing today from everyone, and what is quite logical, is the need for the county to change its modus operandi. This is a good time, since some of you are staying, some of you are leaving, and new folks are coming in, to consider a change of modus operandi for the Onondaga County Sustainable Planning Project future. Too many projects are single-minded and not balancing between all county constituents, such as I would ask you to vote today to postpone or no to this vote if you don't understand it well enough as its impact on all the other members of this county, not just one project, not just for one area, and your guesses about what its intention may be, but for a true balance of city residents, county residents, industry, private project development, and for full transparency. The issue here is to have a comprehensive county plan, which I've read reports all of my life, 60 years of reading reports. Comprehensive sustainability has changed. Sustainability is a balance between all needs. That's what sustainability means, and that's its future. So, among all the things I could say, I would encourage you to say no to this today, as I understand it, which is not in the detail you should understand it. If you have any questions, vote no and pass it on to the next group of legislators who will be looking at sustainable planning, maybe in a more demanding future. I'll say it that way. So that's my statement for today. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next up is Lisa Druk.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everybody. My name is Lisa Druk. I've lived in Onondaga County most of my whole life, and I am a chemical engineer, and my career has been in drinking water, wastewater, industrial water treatment. The company that I worked for sold treatment equipment to municipalities all over the U.S. and Canada. And I have experience on projects that involve the PFAS removal that so many people have brought up this morning. And I just wanted to share with you, what that might look like. So my experience is the manufacturer discharges PFAS into the river, and then downstream, the municipality takes the water, they treat it, send it out to their customers, and over time, people get sick. It's known that PFAS causes cancer, and much higher rates happen in situations that I just described. Then there are lawsuits, and then a ton of money is spent, treating the drinking water at the drinking water plant. It's very, very expensive. I don't want that to happen in Onondaga County. I don't want that to happen here. I have reviewed the plans, the Carollo engineering report. I've reviewed the Brown and Caldwell reports. These are all preliminary reports that were released in November of 2025. And I'm not seeing the PFAS removal. It's not in there. I see PFAS separation, I see PFAS concentration. There's an RO process included, and the brine from the RO is going to be discharged to the Oneida River. I think it was outfall 001B. The biosolids, you know, there's no removal. There's no destruction, there's no removal, and I am very concerned about it. We need to get it right. We need to get it right. This is Onondaga County. This is Syracuse. So I've prepared some comments here. I have outlined four points, and I'm going to go through them. So these are my questions, comments, and concerns with regards to they're seeking authorization of the $515 million for funding these Oak Orchard wastewater treatment plant upgrades. So number one, and a lot of these things people have brought up before. What is the detailed breakdown of the capital and O&M cost for the Oak Orchard wastewater treatment plant upgrades? The cost estimates provided in Appendix I of the engineering report, that's the Corolla report, include costs much lower than the $515 million, and we're in the range of around $145 million for the municipal upgrades. It is noted the estimates by the engineering firm GHD stated an accuracy of plus or minus 40% on the costs in that report, plus or minus 40%. That is very preliminary. It seems premature to seek authorization for funding for the total amount at this early stage. Number two, another specific question that I have is in regards to the cost of the water reuse facility, the WRF. Are the costs for that facility included in the Oak Orchard wastewater treatment plant upgrades? I ask because the WRF will produce ultra-pure water that Micron will need for their operations. The WRF capital and O&M costs for operations should be borne by Micron or the other industries that are using the UPW water. Please confirm. Number three, with the engineering design proceeding in phased steps, would it not be better to approve the funds as the project progresses through the phases? Approving the funds as the phases progress would provide more transparency to the public on the project plans overall and provide more accurate cost estimates. The projected 50% increase in county sewer tax cost of approximately $240 is a significant cost increase to pass on to the residents of Onondaga County. And number four, there are concerns about forever chemicals with the semiconductor industry waste. What are the steps in the process to ensure the PFAS compounds are being separated and destructed to prevent any new source of PFAS from discharging into the environment? Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I'd like to call Nancy Smith again. If you're here, did you come back? Seeing that she's not here, is there anyone else wishing to be heard? Hearing none, this hearing is now closed. At this point, I'd like to take a brief recess, 5 to 10 minutes, before we move on to our agenda items. Thank you. We are back. Thank you for that moment. It's cold in here, that's what I would say to you. The meeting is now called to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Legislators May, Meeker,
Here.
Gunnip,
Here.
Cody, Abbott, Romeo,
Here.
Fiato, Harvey,
Here.
Olson,
Here.
McCarran, Knapp, Bush, Kelly,
Here.
Brown,
Here.
Garland, Hernandez. Mr. Chairman,
Here.
17 present, none absent.
Thank you. Please stand for the invocation given by Legislator Romeo and remain standing for the salute to the flag by Legislator Fiato.
God, as the 17 of us come together for the last time as a body, we thank you for the time we have been given together, the friendships we have built, and the work we have been able to do. I ask that you look over all of us as we go into a new era. Help those of us returning to continue to lead this legislature in a direction that aligns with your teachings. And as that you look over those moving on to help them to be successful in whatever path you lead them on. In all that we do, and as the words above the chairman read, in God we trust. Amen.
Are there any corrections to the minutes of the previous session? Seeing none, the minutes are approved. Are there any communications to be presented?
As listed on the agenda.
Thank you. This time I'd like to ask Legislator Hernandez, former Chairman Bill Sanford, and the family of Charlotte, Chucky Holstein, please come forward for a gold seal presentation.
Thank you, Chairman. Leader Onondaga Hernandez of the County Legislature of Onondaga County, New York, on the 29th day of December 2025, wishes to recognize and honor Charlotte Chucky Holstein on an incredible life of civic leadership and for blazing a trail for the next generation. Whereas Chucky lived a full life of 100 years dedicated to a city she loved, a teacher by training who became one of Central New York's most influential community trustees, and whereas Chucky founded two indispensable civic organizations in leadership, Greater Syracuse, and Focus Greater Syracuse, that both continue to inspire and train generations of local leaders to this day. And whereas as a passionate supporter of women's rights, education, healthcare, the arts, elder care, neighborhood development, and more, Chucky served on dozens of nonprofit boards and gave back to the community, volunteering for many worthy causes in the community. And whereas throughout her career, Chucky championed exclusiveness, democracy, and community responsibility, and her commitment to human rights and Jewish communal affairs earned her national recognition. And whereas her contributions were awarded with numerous honors, including honorary doctorates from Lemoyne College and Syracuse University, as well as SUNY Brockport's Hall of Heritage Award. Yet what gave her the most pride was delivering chicken soup to a neighbor. And whereas Chucky was predeceased by her beloved husband, Alex, so her children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren will carry her memory forward, as will all those she touched, including leaders her story continues to inspire to this day. Now therefore be it resolved that Leader Onondaga Hernandez and all members of the Onondaga County Legislature do hereby recognize and honor Charlotte Chucky Holstein on an incredible life of civic leadership and for blazing a trail for the next generation.
those words being said, it's not many other words I can say, but say we are honored to present you with our final 2025 Gold Seal Award from Onondaga County Legislative Body. Chucky, because of her, many of us are leaders today. Many of us are elected officials today. She has been a role model for many of us with her civic engagement and teaching us how to be civically engaged. And again, we are honored. Thank you. And I know we have someone special here that would like to say a couple of words.
Thank you. My name is Bill Sanford. I used to sit in that chair up there, and a couple of you were here when I was there. I'm not one of Chucky's family. You can tell the difference in height. But it was mentioned that it was my birthday today, and I have to give Chucky a lot of credit because she taught me how to have longevity. I'm 87, and she kept me so busy that it was ridiculous. When I was a chairman, I was there for 2 days, and then Chucky comes in, and she's got a list this long for things for me to do. And so I got to know her pretty well. We started her out here in this legislature with $25,000. And out of that came Focus, the organization, and then after a while it split and it went to LGS, Leadership Greater Syracuse, and Focus. She's responsible for everything, I mean, for those two organizations and for what they've done in this community. It's just amazing with those forums that Focus handles and all the different things that came up. And then LGS has, I think, 1,600 alumni now, as well as, the Focus. They have 500 people that go through their program, and these people stay in the community, and they become leaders, and it's really great. And I owe so much and this community owes so much to Chucky. It's just amazing. She was an amazing woman, and I'm 13 years behind her, but I'm going to try to catch her. So anyway, I just appreciate very much this opportunity to say a few words, and thank you for putting up with this, But just Chucky she was such a big part of my life. Thank you.
So I'm David Holstein. I'm one of Chucky's children, and this is my sister Carol and her husband Ron Killian. And I just want to thank everybody on behalf of our entire family, my sister-in-law Elise, my sister Liz, all of our children, grandchildren, their spouses, for this great honor. Sitting here today, thinking about civic engagement, seeing that we had a public hearing that lasted for almost 2 hours, or an hour and a half, whatever it was, and she would have been very proud of the fact that citizens were standing up and expressing their views and concerns about what happens in their community. And I think back at all the things she's accomplished, and one of the great things I think is to help create Leadership Greater Syracuse and Focus, and help people become leaders, foster the leadership in them that makes them great leaders, and have them understand how our community works, whether it's government or whether it's industry, whether it's private individuals, agencies. She just, her goal was to make sure that people were engaged and educated about how to be involved, and she was always asking them, focusing on them to get involved. And one of the things that, in terms of the sympathy letters that we got, there were a whole bunch of sympathy letters that said, your mother was a force of nature, a force of nature. And I think that she had a way of, as you said, Bill, of coming up with a list of things that she thought you ought to do. And it was hard to say no to her. I don't know how that happens. I mean, we're her kids. We said no a lot, but in a different realm of things and how they work. But she had that magic of just getting people to really think about what was important, and they couldn't say no, and they had to work with her and with others to make this community a better place. So I thank all of you for this award and for everything that and for honoring everything that she's done in this community. Thank you.
And we just want to mention her influence on Meals on Wheels, right? Because that's something essential that we need in Onondaga County and we'll continue to use forever. Our elderly population as well, right?
When we were kids, we would go with her when Meals on Wheels was first started. We would go with her to visit people's homes and bring the meals.
I did some volunteering, a lot of volunteering.
I feel it's appropriate now if the legislators would stand and arise in silent tribute. Thank you. Moving on, has anyone signed up to speak for this public comment period?
None have signed in.
Very well. Seeing none, the public comment period is now closed. The clerk will begin the call of districts, starting with district number 7.
District 7, Mr. Romeo?
None.
District 8, Ms. Fiato?
None.
District 9, Ms. Harvey?
None.
District 10, Mr. Olson?
None.
District 11, Mr. McCarron?
None.
District 12, Mr. Knapp?
None.
District 13, Mr. Bush?
None.
District 14, Dr. Kelly?
None.
District 15, Mr. Brown?
None.
District 16, Mr. Garland?
None.
District 17, Ms. Hernandez?
None.
District 1, Mr. May?
None.
District 2, Mr. Meeker?
None.
District 3, Mr. Burtis?
None.
District 4, Ms. Gunnip?
None.
District 5, Ms. Cody?
None.
District 6, Ms. Abbott?
Mr. Chairman, I rise and offer items 1 and 2 and urge their adoption.
A resolution approving proposed improvements for the Onondaga County Sanitary District in and for the County of Onondaga, New York.
Legislator Abbott.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, this would give the go-ahead to upgrade and expand the Oak Orchard Wastewater Treatment Facility, increasing capacity for projected residential and commercial growth. And I want to say that again, residential and commercial. This is for a municipal project. We need to be good stewards of what's happening out there. I think we're all in agreement that we need to invest in that. And I also wanted to point out it is not the industrial piece. The industrial piece where we gave the go-ahead to create a standalone single district for Micron is separate from this. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? Leader Hernandez.
Good afternoon, Chairman, and I want to thank everyone that came today and spoke during our public hearing. But rushing to approve $549 million in debit without clear financial documentation isn't fiscally responsible. We have unanswered questions, simple ones like how many units will Micron actually have? When is the debit scheduled to be paid back? Is there a breakdown of the $540 million? I want to make a motion today. I motion to send back items 1 and 2 back to the Environmental Protection Committee.
Very well. There is a motion to send back to EP Committee. Is there a second? Legislator Brown. We have a first, we have a second. So a yes vote, we're going to vote. A yes vote is to move it back to committee. A no vote is to continue our discussion today. Will the clerk please call a long call?
Mr. Chairman, will there be room for discussion?
After this, yes, we're going to go back to the, pardon me. Oh, right, yeah. Yes. Yes. Legislator Cody, thank you. There is room for discussion before the long call. The discussion is to be about, not the issue, but about the motion that has a first and has a second to move it to the EP committee. Would you like to speak?
I would, thank you.
Legislator Kelly.
I would simply like to point out that we would not be here today at this special session of the legislature without Minority Leader Hernandez's approval.
It's true. Leadership signed off on it. Leadership of this legislature is myself, Leader May, and Leader Hernandez, and we signed off on it. Legislator Brown.
Thank you, Chairman. I seconded the motion to table it because I do want to reiterate that this is a project that we need to get done. Our community is growing, and we are going to have to expand at some point. What the tabling is doing is allowing us to reevaluate the information. There's so much we don't know. I come from a world where, we have a saying, you can either do it right or you can do it twice. And we're putting ourselves in jeopardy of having to do something of this magnitude twice. I do want to thank the speakers for bringing up several really good points. Most noteworthy was the former WEP commissioner. This is a really noteworthy person who's saying we need to relook at the numbers. We're missing something. I think that the point that was made about, trust, and we were supposed to trust with the aquarium when it went from 85 million to 116 million. If this project does that, we are going to be in a really bad shape, and it's going to put a really strong burden on the ratepayers. And I think that waiting a month, I know that not everyone of this legislative body will be at the next one. However, I'm confident that the incoming legislators, as well as the ones who will remain, we will be able to do our homework, and we will be able to make a smart decision so that we don't have to rush it. I don't think any of my colleagues, even on my side, are of the belief that we should not do this. But we are in agreement that this should not be rushed. It is literally the largest project in the history of our county, and we're going to rush it through despite several of our constituents, people from Cicero and Clay, not even my district in the city of Syracuse, people, your constituents telling you that we shouldn't rush this. So I want to urge my colleagues to vote in favor of tabling this motion, because something of this magnitude should not be rushed. And quite frankly, it's frustrating that we even have to debate that we should be rushing a $500 million project. However, since we are, I will urge my colleagues to vote in the affirmative that we should table this motion. Thank you, Chairman.
To be clear, we're voting to postpone and send it to committee. Legislator McCarron.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would agree with Legislator Brown that we either do it right or we do it twice. Getting this done today is doing it right. We've had informational sessions. It's been through multiple committees. We've heard from the public. And I think putting this off to serve political purposes is not putting the best interest of the community in the forefront. And I urge my colleagues to vote against this motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Others to be heard on the motion. Legislator Abbott.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say anything, but I get insulted because I feel like I make negative $100 an hour here, and that's okay, because I do my homework, and to have people that are on these committees, and we've had multiple, we've started hearing about this in 2023. We live stream them. In fact, we didn't vote on this. We came up with it at last session. We came out here. I left all my kids home. Everybody leaves their families. I understand what time of year it is, because we didn't put it on the agenda to give more time and create a special session. There were one-on-one meetings. I've seen the email questions answered. And even though I didn't have any more questions, I stand behind my due diligence in understanding what we're doing. The fact we talk about sewer rents and rates, I was very concerned when the executive branch came to us this year. And you know what? We negotiated that. I hope you realize, you understand you get to vote again. When they raise rates down the pipe, you have a say. This is the very small beginning of what's going to be a very complex, long, and complicated process, and I really hope you show up at meetings and you do your homework.
Thank you. Is there more discussion about the motion? Anyone? Seeing none, we'll move forward with the motion. The motion is to postpone the vote today and move it to the EP committee. A yes vote is to move it to committee. A no vote is to continue the discussion today before the vote. Leader May.
Thank you, Chairman. Just a point of clarification. This is for items 1 and 2. We're doing this once, or are we doing?
Yes, I'm sorry. Is that correct, Leader?
That was the motion. I just wanted to clarify.
Yes, thank you. Sorry.
Thank you.
Yes, Leader Hernandez did say 1 and 2.
Yes.
Thank you. Are we good? Very well. Will the clerk please call a long call?
Legislators Hernandez,
Yes.
May, Romeo,
Yes.
Fiato, Harvey,
Yes.
Olson,
No.
McCarron,
No.
Knapp, Bush, Kelly,
No.
Brown,
Yes.
Garland, Meeker,
No.
Gunnip,
No.
Cody, Abbott,
No.
Mr. Chairman.
No.
5 ayes, 12 opposed.
The motion to postpone and move to EP has failed. So the discussion continues. Is there more discussion about number 1? Legislator Romeo.
Thank you, Chairman. First, I want to thank CFO Somali and Deputy County Executive Johnson for taking the time to meet with me separately when I had questions, and they were willing to spend that time, so I appreciate it. As a legislator, I feel strongly about my fiduciary duty to taxpayers with every one of my votes, and I think I've shown that over the past 2 years. With my vote today, I'm not voting against the project happening. I'm voting against spending so much money with so little information. This project needs to happen, and I want to work together to find a way to make it happen. For me to vote for it, I need information that I'm told is not readily available. An example of the information gap for me can be seen in the map plan that's provided in the session documents. We've already been told that the information on that is unreliable. That's the core of the information that we have been given for this project. For me, spending $540 million based on numbers that are admittedly unreliable does seem a bit reckless to me. I asked my questions in every committee and in the meetings and in the private meetings that we've had, and I just have not received the answers that make me feel comfortable to vote for this. If this passes, my position going forward will be to support this project and see that it is successful and continue to advocate for the transparency and accountability that comes along with spending taxpayer money. Thank you.
Thank you. Other discussion? Leader May.
Thank you, Chairman. You know, this process started in earnest, 5, 6 years ago when we were hoping, beyond hope, that we had a shot at getting Micron here. And back then, and Chairman Knapp can attest to this, we did a lot of wondering, guessing on cost, scope, impact, planning, preparing for what we hoped was the inevitable, right? Well, it went our way. And here we are, 5, 6 years later. In the last 2 months-ish, there have been something to the order of 5 formal opportunities for legislators to hear from the foremost experts that we have. Also, during that time, you know, we had great access and opportunity to speak with those experts, to answer our questions, to get our head around a project that is beyond the comprehension of most of us, and still to this day, to really absorb the scope of it is a tall task. There's absolutely no doubt of that. You know, and then we need to ask ourselves, are we living in a vacuum here, or are there a lot of stakeholders? Why is the federal government committing billions of dollars on this hope and prayer to repatriate jobs here in the United States? You know, why have we invested for, my goodness, 20 years on a hope and a dream that something good could happen in the White Pines Business Park? You know, that's probably 3 county executives, that's a guess, 3 county executives, and countless legislators. And yes, there are going to be different legislators here in about a week, right? Fully acknowledge that. And there's going to be different legislators here a year from now, right? And by the time this project completes, there will be a lot of legislators that come through this door, spend some time here, and then ultimately leave. All the decisions to this date have involved vision for what we want this community to be. It's involved leadership, and above all else, it's involved courage. Courage to make the right decision with the best resources and the best information that you have. At the same time, we're asking local municipalities to update their comprehensive land use plans. We're even helping them pay for it because we know it's that important, that all of this impact, okay, is going to hit them right between the eyes. Just like we've been dealing with it for almost 20 years, all of a sudden it's right in their face, and we're asking them, what kind of message does it send when we doubt ourselves, okay, and doubt the path that we've been taking for the last 20 years, the effort that's been given over the last month? I thank the administration for their best effort. Man, if the doubters have a better resource or a better source of information to help us make a better decision, I've yet to see it. When the CFO of Onondaga County sends an email that details many of those questions that you believe, that some believe have not fully been answered, I contend these are the best answers we can get right now. This is a decision to upgrade a municipal sewer project, not whether or not to put toxins in our drinking water. That's all this is. This is an end-of-life situation for something that, for a facility that treats the entire northwest corner of Onondaga County, northeast corner of Onondaga County. These are big decisions, folks, and they're bigger than just, hey, are we giving anything to Micron? That's been explained to us many times over, okay? The model being employed that involves the whole industrial piece and the simple but very expensive upgrade to this municipal water treatment sewer facility has been explained to us. It's a best practice model on top of all that. Look, I'm not here to convince anyone how to vote. I don't know that this has been, that I've experienced a more political day in my time here in terms of the way things are coming out in terms of votes. But admittedly, the scope, cost, what's involved, the impact, it's more than any of us imagined. Best effort by everyone involved to help us understand. Again, I thought a great email from which I will submit to the public record, from our CFO, explaining many of the answers for probably not once, but maybe and certainly not twice, 3 or 4, or even 5 times, many times over. It's the best we can do today. Today we set a budget. Today we commit to moving forward. Today we commit to doing our jobs of overseeing everything that happens from here. And I, too, have every confidence that the next legislative body is going to do its part to make sure that all these promises are made. that taxpayers are protected, that we're paying what we need to pay, and that our industrial users are paying their fair share. Because every single question since this thing started with the fact that every single person here wants taxpayers, ratepayers protected. That's simple. It's that simple. Every single question, every single step on our collective parts, every single one of us has been to protect the ratepayer, protect the taxpayer to the best of our ability. We approve this project. We approve the bond. We commit to overseeing what happens in the future. This is these six years that we see on the debt schedule that was requested and answered. 6 years. Think about the number of different people that are going to look over this project, starting a week from now. Look, today it takes the same vision, leadership, and courage that has involved every other decision in this process. Let's be realistic. Let's believe in the process that we're tasked with overseeing, and the power of this branch of government to do the right thing, not only today, but out into the future, regardless of who's here. So, thank you. I fully support items 1 and 2, and that's why. Thank you.
Thank you. Legislator Harvey.
So, I was going to go quiet in my last day, but to be honest, a lot of what I just heard in the last, I say 15, 20 minutes, a bunch of BS. You had several people from the community come up here who are experts in their, get your mic.
It was okay.
Sound like it was going out. Who are experts in what they do. It's utterly ridiculous, right? Yes, we the government it's very important that we do infrastructure, but everybody knows I'm big on healthcare, and to talk about people overlooking the PFAS comment, and there are places in America right now that are cancer alleys because of the businesses that do the very same thing you're asking us to vote on now, with little information. It's ridiculous. So have we putting infrastructure in place for those long-term things that's going to happen down the road when people are poisoned because of our decisions today not to wait until committee next month? Did we think of that? Yes. Big business. Big business. Great, the jobs that's going to kill people in 20 years from cancer. Yes. So I hope you're all so proud of the vote you did today when your granddaughter, your child, that granddaughter's daughter, is dying of cancer. So farewell and good luck to your vote.
Legislator Meeker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to also thank the people who showed up today to be involved. They took a time on a Tuesday morning, or Monday morning, I apologize, to be here and speak, though they were misinformed. Thank you for being here. There is residential, there's commercial, and there's industrial. This project is not industrial, period. Oak Orchard is more than 40 years old. During my tenure as a Town of Clay town councilor, I had the opportunity to review the town's comprehensive plan, which clearly identifies the area north of 481 as planned primarily for single-family residential development. In order for that vision to be realized, this infrastructure upgrade is necessary. In my capacity as a real estate broker for more than 20 years, I can attest that the housing shortage throughout the town of Clay and throughout Onondaga County is very real. This project represents an important first step toward providing much-needed housing and allowing developers to finally move forward with residential development north of 481, consistent with the Town of Clay's comprehensive plan. As a legislature, we have received extensive information through committee meetings, group discussions, at times individual one-on-one meetings. We've taken this responsibility seriously in the best interests of our constituents. Onondaga County needs housing, and in order to support new residential construction, the capacity of Oak Orchard must be upgraded.
Thank you. More discussion. Legislator Romeo.
Thank you, Chairman. I appreciate the emotional support for this project. I similarly have that. And there was an email that was referenced from CFO, and the breakdown that I got does break the project down a little bit, but one of the categories that it breaks it down into is 81% of the project at $417 million. So if I'm not okay with 539 or 549, I'm also not okay with 417.5 million being the smallest number that we can get for a breakdown of the project. There's a number of questions in there that just can't be answered right now, and that's why I'm not able to support this. And if simply the number of meetings that we had got us what we wanted, I think the chairman would have given me a whole lot more over the last 2 years, because I always go to him asking for something, and he wants more detail. He wants to understand what I'm asking for more, and that's really what we're looking for, because the administration's asking for something, and even if I want to support it, I just need more detail. I want to understand it more before I write a check for something that's $417 million or 549, whatever number we're going to go off. The idea is that I personally don't have enough of the quantitative data associated with this project and an understanding of the details of this project to be able to vote for it.
Legislator Kelly.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At some point, if you support the project, but you don't support it at EP twice, you don't support it at Ways and Means, you don't support it in private meetings or private email exchanges, you simply don't support the project. To Leader May's point, every single one of us is committed to protecting the ratepayer, to protecting the taxpayer. What is the best way to do that, to generate revenue? I myself, also a big fan of quantitative data, so I brought some of my own today. This is according to Empire State Development. Micron will generate an average increase of $565.5 million in annual revenue to local government over the study period. While the cost to run local government continues to increase, this project generates the revenue to shield taxpayers from those increases. Let's zero in. Let's talk about the taxpayer. How does this affect everyday people in New York State? The project will add an annual average of $5.4 billion in disposable personal income for New Yorkers. If you care about affordability, if you care about the cost of living, you should be eager to support the infrastructure to make that happen. Now, what do these figures assume? It assumes that Micron and all the people in Clay can flush their toilets. That's what we're talking about today. We're not talking about industrial wastewater. We're not talking about forever chemicals. We're talking about sinks and toilets. I've got lots of notes. Please forgive me. Oak Orchard is operating at or near capacity today as we stand here, before Micron even breaks ground. The facility was built for 10 million gallons a day 40 years ago. Terrific. We're not there today. We can't reach those numbers anymore. We are at capacity. That means we can't build. We can't grow. I want to be clear. This is bigger than Micron. When my constituents tell me their kids are leaving because of the lack of housing, sorry, we can't build anymore. Our sewers are maxed out. When Freight Yard, certified New York farm brewery in the town of Clay, wants to expand their business, what can we do? There's no room for it. A no vote, it doesn't do much to Micron. To many people's point, they're a very successful company. They're going to be just fine. A no vote harms every person who wants to build a home in Clay or the northern part of our county. It harms every business, every family who can't access sewers because we don't have capacity. The people I was sent here to represent. Large-scale infrastructure like this, big, scary price tag, I understand. We're talking about bread and butter, meat and potatoes, infrastructure. Projects like this generate the revenue to justify the investment. Let's talk about what happens if we don't approve this resolution. We don't grow. We don't build housing to address the affordability crisis. We don't recruit businesses. We don't allow existing businesses to expand. I believe since I have been a member of the legislature over the last 5 years or so, our mandated costs are up something in the neighborhood of $100 million. That money comes from somewhere. If we are not growing as a community, that money is coming off the backs of you and I and every taxpayer in this county. I worry that some of us are losing the forest for the trees in this debate. I implore each and every one of us to see the big picture and support these resolutions today. Thank you.
Thank you. Legislator Brown.
Thank you, Chairman. I do want to push back on some of the things that my colleagues mentioned. For starters, I do think that our community is very informed. I just have to push back on that from Legislator Meeker. I think that they did their homework and they did their due diligence. I do want to comment on the email that was sent. So for starters, the email was not sent to every legislator. It was sent to the chairs and it was sent to Legislator Romeo, the leaders. But Legislator Romeo just gave me the email, and it says a lot of what was said at Ways and Means, that until we put the RFPs out, we won't have exact numbers, and without those exact numbers, we can't give exact numbers. That makes sense to me. But one of the notes that was mentioned, I'll quote, it says, as previously discussed, there will be additional units from Micron, housing projects, supply chain companies, and annual growth in the consolidated sewer district. We are currently analyzing the timing of these units coming online and can update you when the analysis is finished. At the very least, we can wait for that analysis to be done. Like this notion that we're, not doing our homework or we're pushing back against it. No, it's called due diligence. We're trying to do our due diligence, and a part of that is waiting for this analysis to finish. It's waiting for all of the information before you make a vote on $500 million. Sorry if I sound impassionate, but the just notion that people are not doing their homework and people are misinformed about whether it's, industrial wastewater or residential or commercial. No, people are doing their homework. People are informed. One of the people are the former web commissioner, and they're still telling us to do our homework more before we vote. So I will be voting no, and I will urge my colleagues to vote no, because we can't get this wrong. This project is way too important. And if the analysis come back and the information is not what we projected, we're going to be in a whole lot of world of hurt, and I don't want to be there. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Leader May.
Great comments. Great comments. Unfortunately, we live in government, right? And there's step after step after step. And while you're not wrong, that there are things that can be analyzed and forecast, okay? But what those forecasts can't account for is where our economy is going to be, all right, a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, as we borrow our way through this process. Our economy or our forecast can't predict what the housing market, which has stalled. There's a few people here who know this better than anybody, stuck in the mud. Housing is a huge crisis here. And when new housing stock gets built, old stock becomes available, okay? I liken today's step to setting a budget for what this is going to cost so that we can go to market and do the RFP. There's no RFP without authorization, okay? And we're kind of stuck with that because we could change our own rules, but you know what the private sector would say? let me know when you're serious, because it's going to cost us, $1 million to come up with a quote. And we all know there's a whole industrial piece that's worth way more than this little municipal project, right? That's going to, that's in play as well. And guess what? It's going to be the same vendors chasing that business as this business. So while I understand the concerns and all of our insatiable appetite for more information to help us make better decisions, this is where we are today. Today is where we lead and have the courage to make the right choice. I'll also, for the record, say I never said nobody did their homework. Just that, look, we've got the best we've got, okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Let me just take a moment to say that this resolution was ready to go to the second session, which was on the 16th, but for reasons that most of us understand, I needed to call a special session, and I appreciate you all being here. Further, some things also wanted to be added to this agenda. We added a gold seal because it was wonderful, but other than that, I kept it to 2 items, and so here we are today, and it's my desire to finish the work that I started. More comments, discussion, please. Leader Hernandez.
I just wanted to say thank you, Chairman, for explaining that because there was a comment made about me signing off on us having special session today, but there was one more important reason why I needed to sign off on that, because we couldn't hear from our public, right? And we spoke about experts, and today I think we had even a super expert come in and speak and tell us why we shouldn't move forward in a rushing manner to vote on this resolution today. So thank you for clarifying that.
More discussion? Are we ready? Very well. Will the clerk please call a long call?
Legislators Hernandez?
No.
May?
Yes.
Romeo?
No.
Fiato? Yes. Harvey?
No.
Olson? Yes. McCarron?
Yes.
Knapp?
Yes.
Bush? Yes. Kelly?
Yes.
Brown?
No.
Garland? No. Meeker?
Yes.
Gunnip?
Yes.
Cody? Abbott?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
12 ayes, 5 opposed.
Resolution number 1 is adopted. On to number 2.
A resolution authorizing the issuance of $515 million bonds of the County of Onondaga, New York, to pay costs of improvements for the Onondaga County Sanitary District.
Legislator Abbott.
Yes, as read, Mr. Chairman.
Is there any other discussion on number 2? Any other discussion? Very well. Will the clerk please call a long call?
Legislators Hernandez? May? Yes. Romeo?
No.
Fiato? Yes. Harvey?
No.
Olson?
Yes.
McCarron?
Yes.
Knapp? Yes. Bush? Yes. Kelly?
Yes.
Brown?
No.
Garland? No. Meeker?
Yes.
Gunnip?
Yes.
Cody? Yes. Abbott?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
12 ayes, 5 opposed.
Resolution number 2 is adopted. There is no unfinished business from the previous meeting, and there are no announcements from this chair. Before I call on Leader May, I'd just like to say thank you for 2 good years from this chair. It's been an honor of a lifetime. Thank you. Leader May, will you make a motion to adjourn?
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you for your work from the chair. It's been an honor to serve. I move to adjourn until Tuesday, January 6th. Thank you.
We are adjourned.
January 2nd.
January 2nd, for the record. Thank you. I'll be here on the 6th. I don't know about you guys. I don't like working on Friday.